Good morning. It's time for Two Guys on Sports. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning, Dick. And baseball and softball. We're going to talk a little bit about girls softball because a couple of teams have pretty much wrapped up the conference titles in the East and the West in the Clover Belt. The Columbus Catholic Dons continue to roll.
Yeah, they. I believe it was a doubleheader. They swept from Abbey Colby the other night, and then I believe last Friday they did a doubleheader against Gilman, or last week, and Gilman had been the team pretty much closest to them in the standings, so they're pretty well set, and be interesting to see how they do in tournament play. So
yeah, they clinched at least a tie for that Eastern Clover Belt Conference title, and Fall Creek, unbeaten in the West, clinched at least a tie over there.
Yeah, they've gotten through the gauntlet of Thorpe and McDonald, so they're pretty well set, and they're going to be a tough team over there in Division 4.
Yes, they are. Fall Creek, very good. They just swept a doubleheader from Bloomer the other night to clinch at least to share that title. Then you've got, baseball. They've had a few teams have ran into some weather issues. So, Granton was supposed to have a doubleheader with Gilman, but one of the games is going to be Monday.
Okay, and we should say they had a very good game against Marathon.
Yes, they did.
Here Monday night, and I think Neilsville, even though they got beat 3-0, I think they should feel pretty good how they stayed with Marathon. Grant Warren very tough on the mound, one hitter, but McFarland and Gross very good pitching for one inning. On runs that they didn't really hit the ball hard, and so good job. And I think that sets you up pretty good. Feel good, pretty good about tournament play. So
they have the two games with Gilman, and that one on Monday means that the game at McDonald Central will not be played now.
Yeah,
and then they have two with Loyal next week to wrap up the conference.
Tuesday and Thursday. So and that'll do her. Your conference play has got to come into play first before the non-conference because that's part of what your seeding is based on. So
they were hoping to get a game in a doubleheader maybe tomorrow or tonight, but it's not going to work out that way. And Friday, Gilman's already got a game scheduled with a conference.
It's hard to do without lights,
right?
And that's if no ifs, ands, and neither Gilman or Neilsville have lights. They both have wonderful parks, but no lights.
Yeah, it don't work too well.
I guess they could have went to Loyal and played.
There you go. Yeah. So Neilsville Granton getting back into action later today. They'll host Gilman for the second half of that matchup with them, and then again the postponement until Monday for that one. So that's baseball and softball. Next week already, we've got some conference tournaments. You've got the track tournament and the golf tournament. And you mentioned golf.
And the golfers this week, Monday, they were up at Whispering Pines. And Tucker Johnson shot a 72 that day.
I heard that.
And what really caught my eye though was Tucker's 72 was pretty impressive. The next 5 guys were the Bloomer guys. And I said, "You talk about a match set, Larry. 3 of those guys were at 77, and 2 were at 79. So
they are going to be reckoned in state."
But and then Tuesday at River's Edge, Connor Gould of Bloomer shot a 72. And that was a miserable weather day, Tuesday.
Right.
And, Tucker Johnson came out, that was 78. And then you had 3 Bloomer guys at 79, 80, and 82. Charlie Moore shot 82, too. So that's a pretty rough day. And River's Edge is tough any day. And then you throw in the weather. And
so a little bit of wetness, and that really gets wet there then.
So the conference tournament should really be something.
Yeah, that's Tuesday.
Yeah, that should be
down
something.
In Black River Falls.
Yep. So.
All right, and track and field, they had a Colby Invitational, and Madden Marr may have met his match with Jet Shaner over there because Jet Shaner won both the 100 and 200.
Yeah, I had in my notes last week, I forgot to mention, but the previous week, Jet Shaner became the first Stratford athlete ever to break 11 seconds in the 100-meter.
Ooh,
he was
fast.
10.53.
Oh, wow.
So Marr might have met his match there.
I didn't look down the line to see if they were going to be in the same regional, but
I would think Stratford is probably 3, and I'm guessing Stanley Boyd might be 2 though.
Okay,
possibly. Right. I don't know.
Okay,
we'll see, but. Yeah, pretty good matchup there, but Jet Shaner is a sprinter. So.
Yes, he is. So. Well, we got the conference tournaments coming up next week, and Neilsville Granton, they have some pretty good individuals as well. I mean, you've got Brody Bergman who can run fast.
You bet. And then Ashton Schultz in both hurdle events and then the high jump. Cam Kennedy has been excellent in the log jump this year. So Will Drinka has been very good in some of the distance. So
Kaylee Lawrence on the girls'
Kaylee
side.
sprinter, and Gracie Shangarth in the hurdles.
Yeah.
So they've got some outstanding individual. They will be right up there fighting for a conference crown, I think, on both sides. I think the Stanley Boyd boys might be just a little too much for them.
Yeah.
But, it should be a good fight between those two teams. So,
Yeah, that'll be good. Again, those conference meets, the track and field and the golf, coming up next Tuesday, May 14th. So things are starting to wind down. Hard to believe for spring sports already.
Spring goes so fast because you get the late start and then bang, bang. You'll be playing so many games a week and then it's over and then summer comes. So.
Yeah, then summer comes. We talk about baseball, and Gene Delisio had a chance to talk with a couple of area coaches. And the first one is Adam Olson from Mosinee, and I tell you, Mosinee is having quite a season.
Yeah, they are 13-3. They're ranked number 2 in D2, so pretty powerful. They've got a kid named Keegan Jersley, and last week against Tomahawk, he had a 5-inning no-hitter on 60 pitches.
Wow.
10 Ks, so he is something. I looked up their batting, but they only had like 3 or 4 games in there, but he was hitting .625 through 4 games, so... He's
going to be going on. I know that.
Yeah. Jersley is a pretty good baseball name.
Yes.
Mike Jersley was a star, graduated from Clintonville in '77. He went on to play college ball. I'm not sure where, but then he ended up playing some pro ball, but many years as a coach in the Kansas City Royal. And when they went to the World Series at 14 and 50, he was their third base coach.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
And then I believe this is probably down the line from him, but Jersley, very good. And they come out of the Clintonville originally, but pretty good baseball name there. So.
Athlete name. I mean,
athlete name. Yeah,
not just baseball.
Mike Jersley had a great baseball career, but he was also an all-state quarterback in football, and he was the point guard on the Class B state championship in basketball that year. That's your typical small school basketball star.
Right, that's right.
Athletic star there.
All right, again, Gene talking with Adam Olson, head coach for Mosinee baseball.
Now let's check in with Mosinee baseball coach Adam Olson, his ball club having very good success once again this season. Coach, congratulations on the great year you're having. Can you give us some reasons why your team has played so well so far this year?
Yeah, we got a great group of seniors this year that have really stepped up as they have the last 3 years. Playing good ball, very consistent. Our pitching's always been strong, and our hitting has been phenomenal again this year. So that's just 2 things that obviously make baseball easy for us and make it easy to win games that way.
Well, you mentioned that senior class. Let's talk about some of those young men and the impact they've had on this ball club this year.
Yeah, we got 10 seniors, 4 or 5 real big impact guys that have, helped us the last 3 years. Keegan Jersley has been our guy the last 3 years, and along with Taylor Lemansky and Gavin Obremski right behind him, just great leaders, great men in general, that just how hard they work and how well they play. They carry themselves very well as well. And then we got Garrett Shoup, who is our number 1 pitcher as a pitcher only, and he's carried us as well, doing very good on the mound.
How about your offense this year? How has that performed for you this season?
We haven't peaked yet, and I'm looking forward to that. We hit up and down the lineup, and we hit with power up and down the lineup, and it shows here and there, but we haven't brought it all together. We've had a lot of hits in games, but our guys, 1 through 9, I'm not like, oh crap, who's coming up now? There's none of that this year. It's all right, keep the line moving, compete. And good things are going to happen. Those guys know their role. They know that they just got to take their pitches and hit the ball what's given to them, and good things will happen.
I understand, Coach, some of these young men will be playing on the next level next season. Anything you can tell us about their future plans?
Yeah, so Keegan's going to play ball. He's going to be a 2A player at South Dakota State next year. Garrett Shoup is going to North Dakota State next year. Gavin Obremski is going to Rock Valley Community College, or Rock Valley Junior College, also D1 school. And then Taylor Lemansky will be playing at UW La Crosse, and Cameron Zabel is going to be playing at UW Stout. That's a long list to remember.
Well, it certainly is, and some very fine talent going on to the next level for your program this next season. Coach, can you tell us about playing baseball in the Great Northern Conference, the level of competition you see in the Great Northern this year?
Yeah, the Great Northern, we got our top teams and then the bottom teams that have been kind of consistent that way, and we battle with those top teams, and we play ball with the other teams. It's a great group of teams to play with, and we look forward to competing every day with them.
Coach, we do notice that you've made some very important improvements in your baseball facility here in Mosinee the last few years. The community really coming through for you in that regard. Can you tell us about some of the improvements and some people involved in really improving this facility for you?
Yeah, this is my 10th year here. When I came in, I played on this field. I graduated from Mosinee High School. Seeing what this field was coming in, I knew I was getting myself into, and knew that it was my goal to make this one of the best facilities, one of the best fields in the area. And I think we did a really good job with that, putting in a grass infield, getting the MLB quality infield mix put in a couple years ago. The grounds in general we've updated, increased, our concession stand, our batting cages, our press box, and then this last year we put up a brand new scoreboard in memory of one of my best friends, Kevin Nikolai, who passed away last year unexpectedly to cancer. But all those things, we have all the banners on our outfield fence, and I always I don't know if I wanted to have like that. All these different things, but that's the only way we can get things done. There's limited funds with the school districts, and if you don't do the fundraising yourself, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. And this community has stepped up huge for us. There's been so many donors, it's so hard to even mention anyone in particular, but if you come to our field and see our fences and you see those big donors that have put forth the funds to help this facility be what it is today, that shows and speaks volumes for what this community has put forth for this baseball program.
All right, that's Adam Olson, Mosinee head baseball coach, and he talked about some of those individuals that are going to be going on to the next level from Mosinee.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, just awesome. And they've always had a lot of kids go on, football, back in the day, their football teams, of course, tremendous passing teams, and their kids were quarterbacks and wide receivers were wanted everywhere, it seems like, and they were always top kids in the state.
Yeah,
if you go back and look at the state, and a couple of them still hold state records too. So,
all right. Another interesting interview that Gene had was with Pittsville baseball coach Justin Rayburn, and there was a big night last Friday night before the Panthers played Regis because they have a lot of improvements, including lights down at Jankowski Field, it's called now.
Yeah, it's always been known as the Pit because
the Pit.
Because if you go into the park there, it's down below, and it is really it was a neat park even before they put lights in. I always thought.
That's a neat place to play.
And of course they have a lot of. It's not just spring baseball there. They have a lot of summer activity there too. Between Legion, I believe there's a Legion team there, but then they have a City League team that plays a lot of ball too. Yeah. And so that park gets used pretty heavily. So
and it will be used even more now with the lights. With the lights,
yeah.
They can play at night.
Oh
now.
Man, that's just super. And so and speaking of Pittsville, and not to belabor the point, but they are 16-0 on the season, ranked number 2 in D4. So
so some pretty good baseball teams we have in the area. Gene talked to Coach Rayburn about the new improvements and about his Pittsville baseball team.
So the conversation kind of started before COVID about putting lights on our field, and then we kind of stopped that for a little bit when everything shut down, and then we picked it back up and formed a whole committee that has kind of made this all come together. Started out as just putting lights on the field, then it turned into, we could use a new infield, and we could use new dugouts, and we could fix the fencing, and we could use a new backstop, and then this seating area right behind home plate with the natural hill, we kind of built into that and made that look real nice. So one project just kind of led to another, and we just kept going. And I think we've spent about $340,000. So.
And lots of people involved in this. A lot of families step forward to become important parts of this contribution.
Yeah. So this has all been private donations from the community. Different businesses, different families, individuals. The community has really came out to support Pittsville baseball here, and especially the Jankowski family. As you can see, we renamed the field after Mike Jankowski, who was a big part of the Little League program. Mike has passed away, but I never got to meet Mike. Everything I've heard is that he's just a top-notch guy, and we couldn't be happier to name the field after somebody like him.
Well, Justin, what does this rebuilt facility mean for the community and for Pittsville baseball?
Well, one thing is it's going to help us get more games. And if we can get our kids more games, more opportunities for them, that's what it's all about. And a lot of little kids, they see older guys playing under the lights, and they think that's pretty cool, and then they want to come back and do the same. And if some night we get rainouts like we do in Wisconsin, we can now play doubleheaders, so it just gives our kids a lot more opportunities to play.
Well, let's talk about your Pittsville Panther baseball team, highly ranked once again this year. Give us your thoughts about the job done by the Panthers so far this season.
Well, we've been pretty happy with our pitching and our defense. We look back at our games, I think we're 15-0 now. Our 14 of those games we've given up 3 or less runs, and so when your pitching and your defense is holding together like that, then you don't have to score as much, which is pretty important because last year we lost 60 to 70% of our lineup, and so coming into this year we knew we were probably going to have to win games with 4-2. We probably aren't going to win a ton of games 10-8, and so we've really done a nice job keeping our opponents down under 4 runs.
Well, Justin, that CWC South is a real strong conference once again this year. Fill us in on playing in that league this season.
Well, we have Pacelli coming up on Monday. Pacelli's always right up at the top of that conference. Rochelt gave us a run for our money a couple weeks ago. We went over there. We were down 4-1 going into the 7th and kind of had to rally to come back. Port Edwards just beat Pacelli last week or 2 weeks ago. So it's one of those conferences where, and baseball is just like this. You can't take a night off. You can get beat any night in baseball. So we got to show up to play every night.
So that's head baseball coach at Pittsville, Justin Rayburn, and that's just a unique park now with the way that hill goes down.
People are gonna love to see it. So I can't wait to go to a game there. So, but that D4 regional is shaping up to be pretty tough there too, with Pittsville and Columbus Catholic. Edgar should be in that regional. Rib Lake, I'm not sure. But Rib Lake is ranked 11th, but you never know which way their regional. They might go to the northwest. So, boy, it shapes up.
I know Columbus Catholic and Pittsville are in
it. They should be the number 1 and number 2 seeds, and Edgar's not a bad ball club either, as you know. So,
we saw them. Sure.
So.
All right, let's go to where are they now here on the show.
Okay, Larry, I'm going up to Spencer, and I'm going to talk about Mitch Souza. And Mitch is a 2015 graduate of Spencer High School. Mitch was a 3-year letter winner on the Spencer Columbus football team. His sophomore year, the Rockets were 7-3, losing to Stratford in Level 2 of the Division of WIA Division 5 playoffs. Mitch had 1 reception for 8 yards and 6 tackles and 1 pass interception that year. His junior year, the Rockets were 3-6. Mitch had 68 rushes for 514 yards and 3 touchdowns, and 6 receptions for 72 yards. He also had 37 tackles with 6 tackles for loss. He was a second-team selection on offense on the Clover Belt All-Conference team. His senior year, Spencer Columbus was 8-4, losing to Little Chute in Level 3 of the WIA Division 4 playoffs. Mitch had 65 rushes for 558 yards and 8 touchdowns, and 12 pass receptions for 294 yards and 3 touchdowns. On defense, he had 32 tackles. He was a first-team selection on offense on the Clover Belt All-Conference team. In the winter, Mitch was a 3-year letter winner on the Spencer basketball team. His sophomore year, the Rockets were 7-16, losing to Pittsville in the regionals. Mitch averaged 9.9 points per game. His junior year, Spencer was 15-8, losing to Pacelli in the regional finals. Mitch averaged 12.6 points per game and was named to the Clover Belt East first-team All-Conference team. His senior year, the Rockets were 18-6. They were Eastern Clover Belt champions, losing to Auburndale in the regionals. Mitch averaged 9.5 points per game and was named first-team All-Conference in the Clover Belt East. In the spring, Mitch was a 4-year letter winner on the Rocket baseball team. His freshman year, Spencer was 11-12, losing to Loyal in the regionals. Mitch batted .320 with 1 home run and 23 RBIs and was first-team All-Conference in the Clover Belt East. His sophomore year, the Rockets were 15-5. They were regional champs, losing to Westby in the sectional semis. Mitch batted .330 on the season with 1 home run and 27 RBIs and was named first-team All-Conference. His junior year, the Rockets were 16-4, losing to Whitehall in the regionals. Mitch batted .295 with 1 home run and 17 RBIs and was named second-team All-Conference. His senior year, the Rockets were 20-5. They were co-champs of the Clover Belt East with Neillsville that year, losing in the regional finals to Marathon. Mitch batted .476 with 2 home runs and 38 RBIs. He was first-team All-Conference that year and honorable mention All-State. After graduation, Mitch enrolled at UW-Platteville and joined the Pioneer baseball program. His freshman year, the Pioneers were 20-20. Mitch played in 7 games as a defensive replacement and a pinch runner. His sophomore year, Platteville was 19-21. Mitch played in 10 games that year with 1 hit and 8 at-bats. His junior year, the Pioneers were 10-30. Mitch, now a starter at third base, batted .238 with 1 home run, 22 RBIs, 36 runs scored, and 4 stolen bases. His senior year, the Pioneers were 20-21 on the season. Mitch batted .265 with 1 home run and 19 RBIs. He scored 35 runs and had 6 stolen bases. Mitch graduated from UW-Platteville in 2020 with a Bachelor of Science degree in Industrial Engineering. Today, Mitch is a product engineer at Medtronic based in the Twin Cities. Medtronic is a global leader in medical technology, making anything from pacemakers to cancer screening equipment, catheters, and spine pain implants. Mitch resides in Minneapolis. Mitch Souza, Larry.
Wow, you talk about what they do after they're done.
I know,
These guys are
engineers,
Yeah.
and the whole nine
Wow.
doctors, the
Yeah.
whole 9 yards. I said,
Jeez.
well,
Big
they
money.
they go to college, they play ball, but they come out of there with a degree and make it good.
Yeah.
Good job. So.
Yeah.
And I just was, Mitch was probably a couple years ahead of a time because, he was a couple years ahead of Lupke and those guys at Spencer. I think he kind of paved the way for those guys in football and baseball. And,
Well, you hear all those opponents that they had in the tournaments. And
Yeah,
I tell you,
Auburn.
they're all still there yet.
yeah,
The marathons.
some things don't never change.
Some
So-
things just never change. All right, the NFL announced that they are going to release the schedule next Wednesday, May 15th, 7 o'clock on the NFL Network. It's one of the latest times they've released it.
Yeah,
usually.
really. It's usually right after the draft, usually,
Yeah.
So, but
We do know that the Packers are going to take on the Eagles.
we know the first game. Yep.
September 6th
Yep.
in Brazil.
Yeah, and the night before, Kansas City will play somebody at home
Yep.
the night before.
Yep.
So we will see what happens. So.
And they will have a couple of games on Christmas Day, and for only the third time in 75 years, they'll be playing on a Wednesday because Christmas is on a Wednesday.
Yeah, unbelievable.
I'm not sure how that's going to work with their scheduling.
No,
but-
I don't know. There's somebody's going to get a bye somewhere.
yeah.
And I would think to play on a Wednesday, you have to have the bye of the previous weekend.
Right.
You have to. You cannot, unless you're going to, even if you played a Saturday or a Friday.
Yeah, 'cause
that's still not much.
not a
That's
lot of
5
time.
days.
Yeah.
So it's. And even if when you play Monday night, it's 6 days till Sunday usually. So, and a lot of times you play on Monday these years, and you get buys coming up. So,
Sure,
or
yeah.
before, So,
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the schedule goes.
but they're trying to go global and they're trying to get themselves on TV as much.
Oh,
And
yeah. Everybody's gotta have their own team.
I almost think at times they want NFL football on 7 days a week if they could do it. So,
It's like college.
yeah, ESPN, fight ESPN for it. So,
Every day of the
so-
week, pretty much. All right, the Brewers get out of Kansas City. Not in good shape. They
They were lucky
lost
to get
again yesterday.
they let the first game go, and then pretty much lucky to win the second game. I think anyway.
Yeah.
And then yesterday it was a close game till Piams came in and got lit up in the 8th, and so struggling on the road. And I'll tell you what, they need to get Yelich back. I think I don't know what his status is, and I haven't heard anything.
I haven't heard anything from him.
But
about
they
him.
miss him in the middle of the lineup right now. So.
Yeah.
Contreras is hitting steady, and Adames has his spurts, but pretty much everybody else is kind of inconsistent. So
Yeah, Frelick was doing pretty well for a while.
yeah,
now
he's
kind of
struggled.
Yeah.
I think his sophomore year, I think they're finding out how to pitch him a little
Yeah.
bit. And we'll see what happens. I think Bryce Terang is going to be steady pretty soon. I think that you got to look at putting him in the leadoff spot permanently. So.
He gets on base and steals bases.
Yeah, and with Contreras hitting behind him,
Yeah.
you should have it pretty good. But they need to get Yelich back. For the most part, as as no name as their starting pitching staff has, they've been holding people.
Yeah. Now it's been their bullpen that's giving up the runs.
But, Bryce Wilson, who'd ever thought there? And then Ray, too. Last year he was just kind of an add-on when they needed a spot starter. Yeah. Well, he's basically their number 2 now. So
Wade Miley had his surgery earlier this week.
And Joe Ross had a great game in Chicago last Friday, gave up 3 runs yesterday. Which 3 runs you should win, but you're not going to win many games scoring 2 runs. So.
And the beginning of the year, on the road is where they excelled.
Yeah, now come off a 2-4 trip to Chicago and Kansas City, where you'd hopefully come out of there 4-2, and they had their chances in Chicago too.
Well, now they got 4 against St. Louis.
Yeah, so
starting tonight.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Well, not in St. Louis; it's at home.
Okay,
I should say.
St. Louis Tuesday night lost Contreras the broken arm. So
I saw that he got hit on a backswing from the batter on his forearm.
It can happen very easily. So
he was hurting.
Yeah, so
he was hurting,
and that takes a big bat out of their lineup. But you still got Arenado and Goldschmidt to worry about. So
yeah, that's right. Basketball, the NBA playoffs, getting down to the semifinals, and it looks like it. It looks like it may not be Denver.
No, I'll tell you what. How about the Minnesota Timberwolves? 2-0 going into Denver and taking those first 2 games. And, I hadn't watched a lot of Minnesota Timberwolves basketball. And they are, and I'll tell you, a big part of it is Rudy Gobert. He was named Defensive Player of the Year on Tuesday. And
well-deserved.
Well-deserved. And he is very steady. And, boy, they've got Denver on their heels. And it just shows you, Larry, how tough it is to repeat as champion in this league.
Right.
So, but, in the East, boy, I'll tell you got to love the way Boston's playing.
Yeah, I kept saying, and it's not going to be Boston coming out of the East. Somebody else is. Boy, I just don't see anybody else that's catching fire right now.
I think by the time New York and Indiana are done with each other, they're going to beat up on each other. Probably go 6, maybe 7. Where I think I don't see Cleveland going more than 5 with Boston.
No.
And their first series was the same thing there. So, I don't see a lot of problems for them coming out. But I do think another team to watch is Oklahoma City. I hadn't seen them play until I seen some highlights. Wow.
I tell you, OKC and Minnesota in a Western final.
Both those teams were in, we talked about this before, both these teams were in the lottery several years in a row. And you start putting those picks together and get the right coach in, the right system, and away they go. So
that'll be interesting to see what comes down the pike in the
NBA
playoffs.
Throwing out the Bucks might be we'll see how interesting this offseason is, huh?
Yeah.
Is Doc Rivers staying around? I don't know. I never heard what kind of contract he signed or personnel change. I think they've got to develop a much better bench. There are no ifs, ands, or what's about that.
Well, and then they got to stay healthy in the playoffs.
Stay healthy, my goodness, yeah.
They're healthy all season long, and then the playoffs come, and then everybody gets hurt.
Yep. So
I don't know if it's a minutes thing. Maybe they got to control the big boys.
Yeah, Giannis is always, Giannis plays so hard, and he just seems vulnerable to that stuff, and not, but we've been lucky over the years, not too severely, but and Lillard plays a lot of minutes too, and these guys are getting up to an age where the body is starting to wear down a little bit, I'm afraid. And so
I see another tall guy, same injury that Giannis, the pulled calf, Porzingis.
Yep.
With Boston.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to hurt.
I don't know if it's the tall guys that get that injury.
I don't know. It's I
don't know.
We'll see. But
yeah.
It's well, you got to like the way Boston is playing, and I would love to see a Minnesota OKC series. In the finals.
It sure looks like that's what's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think Denver's got enough for OKC, even though, you got Irving and the big guy, I forget his name, but
I mean Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
Doncic.
Yeah. I just don't think they got enough. And I don't think they play good enough defense either.
Yeah. They just try to score more than the other team.
Yeah, that's right.
One last thing here before we head out. The Dodgers, the former interpreter for Shohei Ohtani, has agreed to plead guilty in the gambling scandal. And I think, what did they say here? He's facing up to 33 years in prison.
Wow.
Yeah. not a good thing for him.
That's the way it is.
That's the way it is. Yeah.
So.
All right, that'll wrap it up for this week's show.
Happy Mother's Day to both our wives and our mothers.
You bet. There you go. Happy Mother's Day. That'll wrap it up for Two Guys on Sports for this week. I'm Larry Hazer.
I'm Dick Olson.
We'll talk to you again next week.